What's going on, guys? How you doing? Welcome back to another stream. Totally impromptu. I was reading this big book. It's a pretty sweet book. This book has actually got dialogue in it, or verbiage, from the interview that Paul Duncan had with George Lucas in 2019 about the sequels and his sequel trilogy treatment for the sequels regarding Darth Maul, Luke Skywalker returning, finding different Jedi that had survived Order 66 after Return of the Jedi, of course. Darth Maul returning and training an apprentice named Darth Talon, you guys may know about from Legends, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm trying to get to that part, but I didn't even get past the foreword of the book, and the foreword is by George Lucas himself, right here. So I was reading this, and as I flipped the page, I see this picture of George. All right. There's this picture of George, and this whole 2 pages is from him, from his words. And I never knew this about George. I mean, I know that he's aware of, hate and stuff and people being very critical of his movies and everything. But I never actually stopped to read this image or this the scripture on his t-shirt when he was filming for episode 1. And I just wanted to make a little video about it and talk to you guys about it because I thought it was pretty funny. So let's go for it. So he's wearing a t-shirt, which is a quote from the New Yorker from 1999, or maybe he's filming episode 2. I'm not really sure. Anyways, it reads, "A film with comic book characters, an unbelievable story," which I think is saying unbelievable. "No political or social documentary." Well, imagine that. "Lousy acting, preposterous dialogue, and a ridiculously simplistic something. In other words, a bad movie." The New Yorker, 1999. Now, see, I knew George gets a lot of hate and, stuff like that. Or maybe was it 1999. I knew he always got hate and criticism, especially when you're that big. You're always going to get criticism and haters. But I didn't know he was the type of guy to actually go and mock it by wearing a shirt like that. To me, that's pretty funny. And I really admired it. And I just wanted to make a video about it, for 2 seconds. Wow, contrary to popular belief, when the prequels came out, a lot of people really didn't like it. Unfortunately. And, this happened to me all the time, too, in school when I said, oh, I love the prequels. I was 9 years old when The Phantom Menace came out. And, yeah, there were always people that, had their own opinions, and that was fine. But I always found it was the people with the opinions that were against something that were usually more... Well, that's not really true. But they were quite opinionated on how you shouldn't like it either. So anyways, I thought this was pretty neat. I just wanted to do a little video about it, and that's pretty much all. How you guys doing? What's going on with you? Is everyone having a great day? Braden Holmes says, "Nice chin." Thanks. Yeah, I've had this chin for a long time, my whole life, and it's yeah, we have a great time together. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Are you an angel? What?
Yeah, anyways, so it sounds like the sequels. Yeah, I miss George too. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here. I want to read something from the book for you guys. In George's words, the foreword actually by him. Instead of me just making a video about it, I'll just read it on stream. So here we are. Struggling. This is a massive book. So there's the foreword. It's 2 pages long. So I just want to read it with you. And you can find this book. It's actually really hard to find. I got it on Amazon, but I think it was from Ireland. It was shipped. It was shipped out from there. So anyways, let's get to this because I know that's why you're all here.
That's why I'm here.
Movies are an illusion. Cinema is the art of the moving image. The moving image isn't any more truthful than our cave paintings, or hieroglyphics, or the Sistine Chapel. What the artist finds is the truth behind the truth. Art portrays the aspirations of the society in which it is made. And to me, reading this from George, I don't think I'd ever read that before. And I thought it was really interesting because he said something that I always thought, which was that modern day movies are basically just um, the equivalent to the old days stories and gods and mythology and um, as he even says, cave paintings. He goes on to talk about how kids, you remember when we were all kids. Now, some of you might still be kids. I don't know if you're that young though, but we used to like draw on rocks. Like I remember I used to take a rock and I used to I used to break it and I used to like draw on other rocks because it would make it would scratch it. And so he goes on to say that here, two of the most important things human beings do are expressing themselves and communicating with others. How they do that and how clever they are in doing that have always been some of humanity's major accomplishments. Children learn to scratch on rocks just as the cavemen did. And even though the technology is extremely simple, it's a stick and a rock. Part of human nature is to innovate, to figure out better ways to do things. So he goes on to basically say that movies are the advanced way of telling stories like these cave paintings. He says, I'm not that keen on technology. I'm a storyteller, but to enable me to tell stories, I've had to develop the necessary technology. After all, to do a moving portrayal on a cave wall of a dying bison, early man had to invent red paint. While doing Star Wars, I was very limited in what I could achieve in terms of the story's scope. I couldn't show large street scenes. I couldn't have alien characters that were not anthropomorphic walking around on the streets. I couldn't have them as characters. Throughout the making of the Star Wars films, I was struggling with such questions as how do I create Jabba the Hutt? How do I create a Yoda who's only a foot and a half high and have him believably play a scene? I could imagine these characters, but I couldn't realize them. It took a lot of effort and talent on the part of many people to manipulate the puppets, latex, and remote control systems that allowed us to create these creatures. Even then, I was unable to move them around to any significant degree. He then goes on to talk about how he basically had to invent the technology because he didn't actually care for technology, funny enough, to be able to tell the stories that he wanted to. And something that I learned was that he never actually was able to fully, well, I knew this before, but he never was actually able to tell episode 4, 5, and 6 really the way he wanted. He was limited more than I thought. He says, with the digital technology available today, I finally reached a point where I can move such characters freely on a set and I can get better, more dramatic performances out of them. That's been my challenge. It's the same with sets. In the past, I couldn't afford to go to a place in the story that would involve a very large set. Now I can expand environments in which I am able to place my stories, which is obviously very important in the fantasy genre. I put the brakes on my imagination when I was writing the original Star Wars because I wanted to write only what I knew I could realize on film. And even then, so he was actually limited. When he was writing, he limited his writing to what he knew the technology was able to support at the time, which is pretty crazy. Like, I just find that not only was he, like, I thought he, like, wrote out, I was like, okay, these scripts must have been, the early scripts must have had, like, such crazy stuff in them, but the technology couldn't put it out. But he actually, like, shifted his thinking and his story to be able to present it on screen with the technology of that time. That's must have been extremely limiting. And even then, I put the brakes on my imagination when I was writing the original Star Wars because I wanted to write only what I knew I could realize on film. And even then, I was writing things that I wasn't quite sure I could create on screen. And therein was a large task. I have taken those risks on all the Star Wars movies, and I'm taking them on Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Can I pull this off? But the idea of being able to explore my imagination and make it literal is exciting. It moves me forwards to try to get my visions onto the screen. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty cool, man. It just makes me wonder, what... That's why, when Mark said that Episode 1 was, like, the true, I guess, most true form of Star Wars, I can see that now because it says that he's taken everything that he wanted to do with Episode 4, 5, and 6, and he's putting it into Episode 1. And I know there aren't, a ton of people here watching this right now, probably because the title is not very intriguing, and this is more just like a read-along sort of thing, but for those of you who do appreciate this stuff, I vibe with you, man. This to me is so interesting because it's just things that the creator himself was thinking and processing while he was making these movies. And I just think his whole process of doing that is very profound and it's revolutionary. The guy didn't even care about the technology. He was just you look like the Transformer movies and you just kind of look at those and you're like, this movie is all technology. You take the technology away, you have no movie. And with Star Wars, you take the technology away and you still have the same movie, essentially. You just have the beautiful story. It's in the 20th century, cinema was celluloid. In the cinema of the 21st century will be digital. Movie theaters are going to have better presentation, blah, blah, blah. Digital technology will bring down the cost of making movies, which is funny to me because it's like I look at the cinematic that I just put out a few months ago, and that's something that George nobody ever could have done in the 70s. And here we are, we have access to more of this stuff. And we have the ability, YouTubers, fans have the ability to make things that major production studios couldn't do in the 70s, regardless of their budget of tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, based on the limitations of their technology at the time. It just shows you where the world is going in terms of tech and everything, and the possibilities that we all have as we leap forwards with everything that's going on. It just makes me wonder, what's going to be possible for, like my kids someday, or, their kids, or, 5 generations from now. It's like you can create a major motion picture probably in your backyard using like some, I don't know, some apps or something like that. Who knows, dude? You can wouldn't it be cool if you could think of something and the computer just draws it and it just makes it? That'd be pretty sweet. Anyways, I'm going to get back to reading this. I just basically wanted to share that little piece with you all and my thoughts. I thought it was rather very interesting. So, yeah.
Look how old you've become.
We got a couple soups here. Gonna read a few of them. Yo, Charlie, thanks for all this general theory. We all grew up with the prequels as well. I did, most of us. Point is, you rock. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I hope some of you appreciate this kind of stuff because I do. I think it's really interesting. I like everything you give us. Keep Star Wars alive for us all. Thanks. Just want to say I love your channel. Keep up the good work. In times, you've been the only light in my life, and I thank you for that. Star Wars fan from Finland. Hey, what's up, Finland? I heard Finland's a really nice place. I had an ex-girlfriend from there once. Love the channel, watching the stream, and NCAA college basketball. Sweet. Oh, yeah, it's Friday tonight, right? Yeah, what do you guys got going on for Friday? I think I'm going to go on the gaming channel now, and I'm probably just going to play some games, maybe continue Lego Star Wars or something. Can you read it one more time? Oh, you can rewind it. Yeah, this stream will be here after it ends. Of course, man. You don't need to donate. It's all good. Just be here. Just show up. That's all. And the donations, of course, I do appreciate. You're reading a book that's referring to the original trilogy, not the remake of the original trilogy, where he changed it to how he wanted it. No. I'm reading a book on episodes 1 to 3. So the other book you're thinking of is Star Wars Archives, episode 4 to 6, 1977 to 83. This one is episode 1 to 3, 1999 to 2005. Right there, you can see it. So this encapsulates all that. And this picture is from him. I think he was making episode 2. Not quite sure. Maybe that quote is from... But yeah, see, that looks like 1999 to me, or 19, yeah. Here's something for your episodes. Thanks, man. That's years away, by the way, so don't want to get your hopes up. And yes, you aren't the only one who likes this stuff. What are your theories for season 3 of The Mandalorian? How do my braces feel? They hurt. I put in a new tray today, and I'm in a lot of yeah, first world problems. I had a problem with the characteristic story, etc. regarding the last 3 movies. Oh, the sequels? Yeah, me too. No, I wish I could. That'd be really nice, but I don't think I'll ever get to. But we'll see. My predictions for Mandalorian season 3. Well, I made a million videos. I mean, I'd say basically Din and Bo-Katan are gonna have to go on their own little adventure of who rules Mandalore, and Luke and Grogu are gonna have to train together, and maybe they're gonna meet up with Ahsoka. I think that'd be pretty sweet. I'm a big fan of Star Wars because of the OT and the Clone Wars. Nice, me too. Yeah, the OT is what brought me into Star Wars. A film with comic book characters, an unbelievable story, no political or social commentary, lousy acting, preposterous dialogue, and a ridiculously simplistic morality. In other words, a bad movie. Thanks, man. You filled it out. Yeah, I feel like that sums up George's movies in a nutshell. An unbelievable story, comic book characters, no political or social commentary, which is very rare in today's world. Lousy acting, I wouldn't say so. I'd say it was great acting. Preposterous dialogue, well, what would you deem as not preposterous then? But they're telling a story in the way he wants to tell it. A ridiculously simplistic morality. Good versus evil, which is the main common theme, I guess, of the world, but it's not even good versus evil of extrinsic factors. I'd say it's more intrinsic, all the demons within Anakin's head. So it's almost maybe, I would say, Anakin's, we could even go as far as saying mental health, possibly. His thoughts led him to become very irrational and do crazy things. When if he just ignored them and said, yeah, whatever, he would have just gone on and lived his happy old life. If you could make a Star Wars game, what would it be about? Palpatine. That'd be sweet. Maybe like an open world bounty hunter game. Be pretty cool. Flew by you. Okay. Jabba the Hutt was omitted in the original trilogy but put in the remakes. Yeah, so he was actually just played by a human until it was redone later on. Right. What's the shirt say? Yeah, it's not meant to be in a good way. I know that. People really don't like you. Yeah, I guess. There's about 3 million people that don't like me, at least.
And you're sounding like a separatist.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the message. If I was watching some of your Galaxy Edge videos, what was your favorite part? And did you get to ride the Millennium Falcon? I rode the Millennium Falcon. My favorite part was probably... The episode 9 ride was really fun. That was look, you guys know I'm not a fan of the sequels, but that ride was sick. It was great. I had a fun time. The prequel, I love theme parks in general. I'm a big theme park guy. The prequels were more creative than the sequels because designs of things are bland in the sequels. Also, the CIS is awesome, isn't it? You're loved and people are jealous of your success. Yeah, whatever. Hey Theory, I tagged you in an Insta post. It's some videos of you. I don't know if Drunk showed you at all. Would love you check them out. They're hilarious. Much love, man. Okay. Well, I guess I'll catch you guys later. I just wanted to touch on that subject. It was going to be a super short video. Just want to connect with you guys a little bit. And I guess I'll see you guys in a little bit.